Welcome to Your Image, your public relations flagship program on TV. Last week, I was having a conversation with the president of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, Malam Mukhtar Sirajo, fellow, and then chairman of council of the NIPR. Our discussion had to be prolonged because there are several issues that we need to trash, and having the opportunity of having him in Ogun State, I think we better take that great opportunity. Thank you very much for still being with us in the state. I hope you have been enjoying your stay.
Well, I have been over-enjoying.
Oh, okay. Thanks to the people of Ogun State for giving you that treat. We were actually discussing on the role NIPR has been playing in engendering unity, growth, and development of the nation, in ensuring that all stakeholders in Nigeria are brought to the table to deal with issues that seems to divide us. We are a great nation, and Nigeria is seen as a great nation all over the world. So, Mr. President, your members, how are they carrying on the task in the states?
Well, they are doing the best that they can, I believe. But given the situation that the country is in, economy-wise, and other socio-political issues, I think the situation, we pray that the situation improves. But part of the challenges that we have been grappling with is the issue of professionalism that the system seems to be toying with.
Particularly quackery.
That's what I'm talking about, that the system seems to be toying with. You know, the NIPR is the body created by law and mandated by that law to regulate the practice and profession of public relations in Nigeria. And part of the mandate also is to set parameters of knowledge to be acquired to enable one practice the profession. And the law, which is Cap N114, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, it was actually enacted in 1991, criminalizes the practice of public relations by whatever other name, that's the operative word in the law, by whatever other name, by anybody who is not licensed by the institute.
So what are you going to do with those people who are practicing PR?
Well, there are a lot of people that are flouting the provisions of this law. And part of the punishment that is enshrined in that law includes imprisonment, fine, and what have you. It actually mandates the law mandates the Attorney General of the Federation to set up a tribunal to try those found practicing public relations by whatever other name, that is, by any communication-related matter, media relations, public relations, corporate communication, whatever, as long as it is a public relations thing. The law does not allow anybody to practice it without licensing by the institute.
What is the position of the law with those organizations that are harboring?
They are as culpable as the individuals that are doing that, and they can be punished as an entity by fines too. So there is a multi-pronged approach that we are now pursuing.
Okay, the NIPR is coming up with.
To ensure compliance with the law, because the law is largely observed in the breach. That's the truth of the matter. Most of the people that you see being appointed spokespersons, media advisors, public relations advisors, communication officers, information, these corporate communications, these, if you take a census of them, majority of them are running foul of the law. That's the truth of the matter. So we have been undertaking advocacy, a lot of advocacy, a lot of enlightenment, letting the people and the entities know that there is this law, and we have to be a society of laws. They say if you don't like a law, don't bend it, change it. For as long as that law subsists, it must be complied with. And who do you expect to show the way in compliance with the law? It should be the government. But it is largely at the head of those that are breaching this law. Because our leaders, when they come to office, they just think of ways to give job to the boys. They don't care to find out what qualifications they possess, and they don't even think critically to realize that you cannot give what you don't have. Communication is a very, very essential component to go to the success of governance. If you don't get the communication aspect right, you are likely to begin to build something on nothing, because without communication you are not likely to go anywhere. But people make the mistake of thinking that anybody that can speak good English is a good public relations person. No, public relations is a deliberate field, is a proactive field, and you have to be trained in its nuances and its intricacies. You cannot give what you don't have. The capacity to speak the English language well, or to be able to write it, does not make you a good communications person. You have to study what communication is. You have to study the nuances of communication. You have to study how to brand. You have to study how to market. You have to study how to even think strategically from day one. It is not just about reporting events, but it is about being creative on what you want to report. What is the product that you even want to report?
What do you say to the perception that people have that journalists or anybody else can just be a PR practitioner?
That's what I said. It is not an all-commerce job. It is a field of study. It is a course. If you go to the university, you study communication. If it was not that important, then it wouldn't have been a course of study anywhere. Then anybody who can speak good English can be asked to do. But yes, you can speak the best English around, but what happens if you don't have the capacity for strategic thinking, if you don't have the knowledge about how to look at issues, how to scan environment, how to be environmentally aware, and ask yourself, what does this problem require to solve? There are some problems that require information to solve. There are some problems that require the withholding of information to solve. So all these are things that you need to know before you go to town. But a journalist essentially is trained to inform, to report.
Not to manage.
Not necessarily to manage. All the journalist, I trained as a journalist too before graduating to public relations. The essence of journalism is to report actually. So you don't even care what, sometimes in some cases, we care less about the impact of the reports that we even send. We just report. Bad news, they say, is good news. But in public relations, you sometimes decide, part of the strategy in public relations sometimes is not to report. You understand? It's to manage.
And project.
And project. And sometimes under project, because you have to be deliberate and evolutionary in the way you do certain things, so that you don't just splash something in the face of the people. Sometimes the force can be tremendous.
The people in the public have this understanding that it's only people who study communications that can also go into public relations profession. What's your take?
They are the best people to do that. That's the truth of the matter, because you have to have a background. But
background in communication?
In communication, yeah. But you see, you have to be realistic, especially when you are in the business of relationship building. That's what we are actually doing, like I was telling you earlier on. We know that there are people that have been practicing public relations without the requisite qualification, paper qualification, that enables them come on the good side of the law. And it's not fair to just ask everybody to go away. As relationship people, we don't want to rupture relationship, but when push comes to shove, we have a job to do, we have to do it. So we are doing, number one, we are doing advocacy. Secondly, we are providing a window of opportunity for people that are operating outside the law to come on the good side of
people
the law.
in the social sciences
So,
and other
there are several ways through which one can come into the membership of the institute and be qualified. You can take the diploma programs of the institute. You can come through direct entry if you have the requisite qualification, communication qualification from day one, or take advantage of the window of opportunity that we are providing now for those people who have practiced the profession for upward at executive level for upward of 5 years, but they don't have the certificate.
The academic qualification.
Yeah. We organize a training program that we call Master Class. It's a crash program, a very rigorous, intensive training program, at the end of which you are certificated and you come on the good side of the law. Then the other one we are trying to do, you know, a lot of the people that have been appointed spokespersons for this, spokespersons for that, are not qualified. So we recognize and appreciate our limitation. We may not have the capacity to punish now because they may be big people. But how would you think?
Is anyone bigger?
No. Yeah, well, some people think they are bigger than the law, and it seems to be so. But
maybe in Nigeria.
Well, I'm coming, Akin. What happens when we now buy space in newspapers? We are taking a census of all the people that are into the public relations profession. We are trying to sift the wheat from the chaff. Okay. Those that are qualified by law and those that are not. And we want to advertise the names of those that have been found flouting the law, especially those of them that are in government, since government is supposed to set the pace in compliance with the law. But you see, as relationship builders, we are reluctant to do that. But we are having to do that as a last resort. That's why I always tell people that we have the carrot and the stick approach. We have been dangling the carrot, which is the masterclass thing, the advocacy we are doing. But the stick and hammer are likely to fall very soon, because very soon. Even if we don't get you, at least we can let the world know that you are a quack, however much you are able to speak English, however much you are able to write in the English language. You understand? But I think the responses we have been getting are not discouraging. They are a little encouraging. People are coming, and I see that our people want to be on the good side of the law. So we are making progress in that regard. But we want to appeal to our governments, governors, presidents, ministers, whatever, that there is a law in this country that criminalizes the practice of public relations without licensing by the institute. Whoever you want to appoint to be your spokesperson or director of communication or anything that has to do with public relations, ensure that they are qualified. Part of the problems that we have as a people, and as various governments would have observed, is that at the bane of the problems is the communication component of it. Sometimes if you have people who don't know anything about communication manning your communication, you run into trouble. And in communication, you don't wait until there is trouble before you begin to want to. No, you actually envisage and prepare for it. That is part of the training that you receive in communication and public relations. But if you don't have that, you cannot give it.
Yeah, that is true. Well, we will be looking forward to seeing those actions, those positive actions, because they are really undermining the progress of public relations. When they look at organizations, you see them hiring people who are not certificated, who are not members of the NIPR. Does the NIPR has a role in the recruitment of heads of public relations or any public relations person in organizations?
I want to tell you that there are some organizations that I must mention CBN here. Okay. They do very well, even when they are recruiting into their corporate affairs department. They ask for certificates of NIPR. Some do, and sometimes if people apply for specific jobs of public relations to them, they write us and ask us about the membership status of those individuals. So they rely on our feedback to carry on. I'll tell you something. Part of the mess that we have found ourselves in by disregarding communication and disregarding our own homegrown communication experts. Even our political parties are actually culpable. The people that actually craft their messages. You see them hiring people just because of, is it slave mentality or colonial or neo-colonial mentality? They go and hire people from outside to come and craft communication messages for the consumption of Nigerians. When those people that they are hiring from outside know next to nothing about Nigerians, about their nuances, about the peculiarities of the various sections of the country, that is why sometimes you see messages that rather than project and promote the image of a political party or a candidate, it hurts some sections of the country because they don't know how to manage the feelings. So we want to appeal to them to come on the good side of the law, engage professionals that are locally brewed. These local brews go outside to train sometimes, but at least they are people of this country, they know the nuances, they are part of the society, they know what message that is best suited for this part of the country, they know what message that is best suited for that part of the country. There is no one size fits all. That is what we get when we go outside and ask them to craft a message for us, for Nigerians. It is a one-size-fits-all, and it is bound to fail because we have idiosyncrasies here, we have peculiarities here and there that need to be managed individually.
Yeah, I'm glad you have delved into the area of political public relations, which, when we look at it, come 2023, that's another time for rigorous campaigns and the like. What do you advise politicians and government to do? Number
one, I advise our politicians to show greater love for this country. There has to be a Nigeria for anybody to preside over it or preside over any part of it. And let us have respect for our people. Let the campaigns be issues-based. It is not about ethnicity. I mean, you see, all these things about ethnicity, religious differences are functions of failure of leadership. Because if leadership from day one had been up and doing, Nigerians would not be asking what part of the country their leader comes from, because that doesn't bring food to the table. Whoever provides for you what they are supposed to provide, you don't care if they come from the moon. We have to learn and live from the countries that we say we are copying. They don't ask such mundane questions. But now we have reduced our people into not asking the necessary questions. They don't put us on, we don't put our leaders on their toes. We don't harass them with the necessary questions as to what have you done with the mandate we gave you 4 years ago. Okay, you that wants to come anew, what are you going to do differently? What makes you think that this guy has failed? No. The biggest questions we ask our leaders is what part of the country or what part of the state they are from, as if that is enough qualification for leadership. No, we have to have respect for our people and make the issues based. Look, the economy is in a terrible shape. There is a lot of insecurity. There is a trust gap between the government and the governed, between Nigerians, between the component parts of the country. Let us ask them questions as to how are you going to handle these problems. For God's sake, we don't want to know what part of the country you are coming from. We don't want to know what God you worship. What is your capacity to lead?
Let me also ask NIPR, do you have oversight function in the way political parties manage campaigns and the messages they dish out?
Well, we don't, by law we don't, but by convention we should have. In fact, we should have that oversight function, but if we had control over the people that craft their messages, we could apply sanctions, but we don't even know them. They come from some other planet.
But that is an assignment for the NIPR to begin to look into
the law. Actually, the law prohibits that, because anybody that is coming to do public relations in Nigeria from whatever part of the world they are, they have to come through the NIPR. That is what the law says.
Maybe the NIPR is not speaking.
That doesn't happen. No, we have been.
No, we want to see NIPR speaking and letting government, politicians, stakeholders.
That is where you have sensitive governments that listen and do the needful. We hope to get there.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine, because I'm part of the body, and we get feedbacks, and we listen to what people are saying, particularly in the political campaign era, when roads are blocked, when statements that are riotous, they are instigative, and you know, you have a way of describing some comments that do not gel with the people. So we must be organized. I'm looking forward to seeing the NIPR actually anticipating and advising government politicians as a way forward so that we can have a very peaceful election come 2023.
Well, we are doing whatever we can to ensure that at least government takes communication more seriously. And once government begins to take communication more seriously by engaging with professionals, then I believe things will begin to fall in place.
Your advice to the media organizations?
To remain pan-Nigerian, to look at the bigger picture, to ensure that we practice developmental journalism, stop being parochial, and take back our role as agenda setters, because now we have ceded that role to the politicians. They seem to be the ones that set the agenda for the media to follow, but it should be the other way around. The media should be the ones to set the agenda for the politicians to follow, and I want to see us, take our role back.
Yeah, I also want us to take our role back because it is our duty to project Nigeria. It is our duty to manage organizations. It is our duty to manage communities and even individuals who are the stakeholders that are involved in setting agenda for a better Nigeria. Let's look at the image of Nigeria among other Committee of Nations. How's Nigeria faring?
Well, to those that are informed, Nigeria is not faring very badly, but to the ill-informed, we may be a country of bandits, a country of fuel shortages, a country where nothing works. But then, that is also a function of the reports that emanate from ourselves. I'm not saying, I'm taking the media to task now. What we report of ourselves is what the world thinks of us. Now you go to any airport in Europe and Americas and other parts of the world, once you are carrying a green passport, you begin to shiver as you approach the immigration officer, because you are likely to be asked more questions than the other travelers. This is because of what they read or say about ourselves. I'm not saying we should not say the truth, but we should let the world know that, yes, we may have bad elements, but the majority of us are good. That is what developmental journalism is all about. You have ghettos in New York, but you don't see that being splashed in CNN or in Fox News. In fact, you have places in some other parts of the world. If you go there, you won't believe that they are in those parts of the world. But you don't get to see that. But we are very good at projecting the negative as against the positive from our side. If we must project the negative, let us do that pari passu with the positive so that the world can put us on a scale and balance us.
I've been having an interesting session with the president of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations and chairman of council of the NIPR, Malam Mukhtar Sirajo. It's nice having you around, and we believe that when we want to have you again, you kindly oblige. Your parting shot, just your parting shot.
Nigerians, let us go back to those good old days when we looked at and related with each another as one and the same. We have no control over our geographical incidences, our ethnic accidents, and the way God wanted us to worship him. We didn't sit in conference with him to ask him to make us this or that. He, in his own wisdom, made us the way he made us. Let us not sit that blessing on its head. Let us think as one.
Viewers, that's all for us this session. We'll be glad to have you once again next week. We'll be coming with another topic for your discussion. Thank you so much.